Norbert Chopek. If you look it up, C-A-P-E-K, Norbert Chopek, and his wife, Maya, M-A-J-A, came up with this beautiful ceremony. So this is when it occurred it is 100 years ago in June. I think it's the first week in June when this was brought to our Unitarian Universalist gatherings. Now imagine the courageous people of a war-weary nation, finally free to reclaim and renew their spirituality and culture after the war to end all wars. Imagine their hunger for soul-filling music and a message of unity that reaches across all lines of difference. Imagine their longing for a community where the gifts and needs of all people would be embraced. 100 years ago, the Congregation of Liberal Religious Fellowship in Prague, then Czechoslovakia, was the community of their dreams. The Prague congregation was founded by the Reverend Dr. Norbert Chopek and his wife, Maya. Dr. Chopek, a brilliant writer and preacher, avid singer, and eager student, was born into his father's history with the Moravian Brethren. Norbert Chopek grew up thirsting for a faith free from hypocrisy, a faith that would respect his mind and help him give voice to his convictions. As an adult, Chopek served Moravian and Baptist religious organizations, but he kept growing more religiously liberal with each passing year. He left Bohemia under government threat and accepted a call to serve a Baptist church in New York City until one day in 1919. In that day, he wrote in his diary, quote, "I cannot be a Baptist anymore, even in compromise. The fire of new desires, new worlds, that fire is burning in me." In 1921, inspired and empowered by connections he made with the American Unitarians, Dr. Chopek and Maya returned with their children to their native land to build the new religious movement they dreamed of. That religious movement caught fire in a nation alive with freedom and longing for change. 100 years later, are there people in our nation crying and hungry for change? The Prague congregation's liberating message and vibrant music drew thousands to worship. And yet, something was missing. A new ritual was needed to unite this diverse and eager crowd. So Chopek created a ceremony he described as, quote, "a new experiment in symbolizing our liberty," and at the time it was brotherhood. So we'll add humanity today, symbolizing our liberty and our shared humanity. He asked each congregation member to bring a flower to church, at the time, church, from their garden, field, or roadside. Gathered in one vase, their combined beauty was dazzling, as it was on this table this morning. Each blossom, even in that bouquet, retained its uniqueness, but it added to the beauty of the vase. Chopek wrote, "When they go home, each person is to take one flower, just as it comes, without making any distinction where it came from or with whom it represents, to confess that we accept each other without regard to," 100 years ago he was writing this, "without regard to class, to race, or any other distinction, acknowledging every person as our friend." This compelling ritual of individual free faith, the beauty of diversity, and the power of unity was held for the first time on the anniversary of Prague, that fellowship's founding in June 24th, 1923. It became known as the flower ceremony, and in some of the research, some people are like, I think they called it flower communion, and others said no, it was flower ceremony. So in our research, it has been juxtaposed. Some congregations have called it flower communion, others call it flower ceremony. And the Prague Fellowship celebrated it annually as they continued to grow and thrive. And yet, if you know your history, it wasn't all peaceful in Czechoslovakia. World War II brought great troubles. And in 1939, Maya Čapek came to the United States to raise funds to help the war refugees. She brought that flower ceremony to the States. She brought it to the Unitarian congregation in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And soon the tradition spread to all the other congregations in the country. Norbert Čapek stayed behind in Czechoslovakia to help his people. He nurtured their spirits, and with his message of inherent worth, they thrived. And yet, the Nazis found his message too dangerous. They arrested him for treason in 1941. He was sent first to Dresden, the prison there, and then to the concentration camp at Dachau. Čapek kept his spirit strong by sharing his poetry, his music, the flower ceremony with other inmates within the concentration camp. The Nazis did put him to death there. I've heard over and over again how much people love our Unitarian Universalist congregations, how social justice is important to us. It's important for us to look back and note people who were so convicted for this commitment to diversity that they lost their lives, and Norbert Čapek was one of them. So this year, we honor the 100th anniversary of the first flower ceremony. And we celebrate the blessings of diversity, the beauty of freedom and dignity for every person, the power and strength of the religious movement founded by Norbert and Maya Čapek, a movement that continues to thrive today, and I have to say is so active in this Unitarian Universalist congregation. So there is a hymn that Čapek wrote, and I didn't include it for singing today, but I'm going to share a video. As he sat in the concentration camp, he wrote this hymn, Mother Spirit, Father Spirit. Today, we might sing Parent of Love or Spirit of the Parent. We might change the words, but I think it's really important that we reflect back and say, what was this man questioning when he was sitting in a concentration camp? And how did he find the will to carry on in an environment that was oppressive? It's a beautiful hymn. It reveals the good minister's appreciation of beauty and his love of mystery and the power of prayer. Mother Spirit, Father Spirit, and it's located in our gray hymnal. I would like to share that video right now of the song that Norbert Čapek wrote.
Mother Spirit, Father Spirit, where are you? In the sky song, in the forest sounds your cry. What to give you, what to call you, what am I? Many drops are in the ocean deep and wide. call you, who am I am empty, time flies from me, what is time? Dreams eternal, fears infernal haunt my heart. What to give you, what to call you, oh my God. Mother Spirit, Father Spirit, take our hearts. Take our breath and let our voices sing our parts. Take our hand and let us work to shape